How do you turn complete gibberish into a working, thinking AI using just a few lines of code? Welcome to Yurix AI. This is lecture 28 of LLMs from scratch, zero to builder. Today, our objective is simple but huge. We're taking our model from pure theory to live execution, actually coding the loop that makes an AI learn.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got 6 steps today. 1, the LLM pre-training loop. 2, measuring the LLM's parameters. 3, coding the pre-training loop. 4, pre-training on our dataset. 5, analyzing the pre-training results. And 6, spotting LLM overfitting. Let's get to it.
Section 1, the LLM pre-training loop, the engine of learning. Okay, so this right here, this is the actual heartbeat of artificial intelligence. We start with a forward pass, literally just feeding our text inputs into the model. Then, step 2, we calculate loss, basically asking how far off was the AI's guess from the actual target word. Third, we backpropagate. This is where we calculate gradients to figure out exactly how wrong each specific part of the model was. And finally, step 4, we repeat, updating all those weights. This loop right here is the actual engine that turns random, useless weights into a working, intelligent LLM. If that just clicked, hit the like button.
Section 2, measuring the LLM's parameters. Scaling up the math.
So, inside that loop we just talked about, we are actively optimizing roughly 160 million individual parameters. I mean, think about that number. An operation of this sheer magnitude would have been absolutely, literally impossible a few decades ago. But today, thanks to some crazy software optimization, this massive volume of math can happen right on a standard laptop. Wild, right? And those 160 million parameters aren't just thrown in randomly. They're distributed super precisely across our architecture. So you've got 38.4 million dedicated to the token and positional embeddings. This is basically how the AI understands words and the order they appear in. Then the real heavy lifting happens in the 12 transformer blocks. That packs a massive 85.2 million parameters. And lastly, the final output layer, which takes all the model's internal numbers and turns them back into probabilities for the next word, that holds another 38.4 million. It's just a beautiful, massive structure. Moving on to section 3, coding the pre-training loop, bringing the math to Python. To actually update our 160 million parameters efficiently, we use an optimization algorithm called AtomW. The best way to think about AtomW is imagine you're navigating a super foggy mountain landscape, and your goal is to get to the lowest valley. That valley represents our minimum loss, or the lowest possible error. Every single time AtomW updates the network's weights, it's kind of like taking a blind step in the fog. You feel the slope of the ground under your boots to figure out which way is downhill, and you carefully adjust your stride so you don't, fall off a cliff. It guides our models safely, step by step, down to that lowest error. But before we can let AtomW do its thing, we have to set up our hyperparameters. These are basically the ground rules for our training. First up is epochs. An epoch is simply one full pass through our entire training dataset, and we're going to do 10 of these. Then we have batch size, which is how many text samples the model looks at simultaneously. We're setting that to 2. Context length is set to 256 tokens, meaning the AI can look back at the previous 256 words to help it predict the very next one. And finally, our vocabulary size is just over 50,000 possible words. All right, section 4, pre-training on our dataset, feeding data to the model. For our training material, we're using a really small open-source short story from 1906 called The Verdict. I'm talking tiny, only about 5,000 tokens total. Now, to train our model properly, we have to split this data up. We use 90% of it for the actual training, to update the weights we just talked about. And we hold back the remaining 10% as a validation set. That validation set is absolutely crucial because it acts as a blind test to see how well the model predicts text it hasn't directly studied yet. Okay, so here is the really exciting part. We actually ran the code. We passed our batches through the forward pass, calculated the loss, ran the backprop, and let AtomW update those weights for 10 full epochs. And we successfully optimized over 160 million parameters in exactly 6.6 minutes on a completely standard laptop. I mean, that is genuinely incredible when you think about the math involved. Seeing the loss curve drop live, what surprised you most about training? Take a second, pause this explainer, and drop your answer in the comments below. Section 5, analyzing the pre-training results, from gibberish to English.
The before and after contrast here is just stark. At Epoch 1, our completely untrained model was literally just spitting out endless commas. Just comma, comma, comma. It didn't even grasp the concept of words yet. But jump to Epoch 10 after running through our training loop, and it outputs was one of the exams laid down across the SE. Look at that. It's generating grammatically coherent English. It organically learned the structure of our language just by optimizing those mathematical weights.
Section 6. Spotting LLM overfitting. When the model memorizes. But there's a catch, and the numbers here tell a really important story. Our training loss, which is how well the model predicts the 90% of the data it studied, dropped beautifully, going from 9.7 all the way down to 0.39. That looks great, right? But look at the validation loss. That represents our hidden 10% of data. It barely dropped at all and just stagnated right around 6.3. Guys, when your training loss drops, but your validation loss just flatlines like that, that is a classic, undeniable sign of overfitting. And we can actually prove this overfitting by looking at exactly what the model generated at Epoch 9. It spit out, yes, quite insensible to the irony she wanted him of vindicated and by me. The model isn't coming up with this creatively at all. It literally memorized this exact word-for-word string directly from our dataset. Because the verdict is so tiny, it's just 5,000 words, the AI basically figured out it was mathematically easier to just memorize the book instead of actually learning the broad general rules of the English language. Which leaves us with a pretty amazing challenge. Now that we've built the engine and watched it learn, how do we stop the AI from just memorizing the past and actually get it to start reasoning to create new ideas? We're going to fix exactly that in our next session by diving into decoding strategies. Until then, like, share, subscribe to Yurix AI for a new lecture every day. Hit the bell.